I start my presentation, and who am I? I think is the better solution, better test for Dataverse call for API, and who am I is a better solution to test my my work. I'm a certificated solution architect on Dynamics about a few years, and work on Dynamics Dataverse about more of 15 years. I started with the CRM 1.0 in on-premises MSDN DVD when I arrived in my office. I work with different technologies such as Azure, microservices under Kubernetes, Golang, Flutter, Java, SSIS, Talend, Oracle. I worked and working only with a lot of type of technology. And I started normally I start with this technology on the yearly release, because I'm a very curious person, and I love study, and I love to try to find each type of use of technology. I'm a freelance, and normally I'm engaged on high value projects for large companies. Example, in my past, Mediolanum Bank or Sorgenia is an Italian company, energy company, or various aqueduct in Italy. And sometimes I'm a supplier control consultant for the customer, for the other partner to control for the normal big consultant company, such as Avanet, Accenture, Capgemini, or that supplier, Avanet, Accenture, Capgemini, etc., to create a new solution for Dataverse or for other technologies. Today, I want to explain prototype that I created to use in a flexible mode Dataverse, using various part of Dataverse to create an hybrid ecosystem for better work and performance for external data, use external data in Dataverse. What we can expect from this session? We create an external database for our data. I create a table named Dyne properties. Use this as a virtual entity. Create a typed data model in Dataverse. Push data model. Use this data model in same Azure database where we have stored the Dyne properties. Integrate the Azure database with custom view and trigger, and insert tons of data in Dataverse without have a problem for or Dataverse performance. Because for my experience, the big you go crazy in for uploading a large volume of data in Dataverse, and you go crazy when these data change in a large amount volume each day, about 4 million, 5 million, 10 million of record for each day, or 100 millions record for each day. Is a very hard to implement a solution that you are able to use this data in Dataverse. So I think that is a good way to explain if you see immediately the results of this type of implementation. This is normal SQL Server Management Studio. Okay, is joined on Azure, the Azure SQL, and on this Azure SQL we have some custom table, and if you see, you can show here some table that are created into Dataverse. I loaded this table directly into Azure SQL database, not Synapse. I use Synapse, but is only for get the data from Synapse, from Dataverse. So I want to insert a property, a tipized property for my account in Dataverse. How I can do? I created a table that after I explain how it works, I insert my value. So, for an example, I insert my fiscal code. Okay. I set the account number, the information, and with technical type of information I'm writing into Dataverse is called code. Few instant, okay, and if I see my my account in Anna is 3, John is 2. Okay, if you see John, you can show the property that we have inserted now. We insert the property directly into Dataverse, but not write anything into Dataverse. How we arrive to this goal? I created an custom data model in Dataverse. Okay, for organize the data into a property table. Okay, in we now we see about a few tables that I try to explain what the table do. Okay, the main table is Dyn properties. Dyn properties is a virtual entity, is not a normal entity, and on that we store the information that you want to show and you want to use in Dynamics. Related to this Dynamics property, we have a Dynamics typology table. This table have a lot of information to have a technical name that the before. Property type, if it's a string, if it's a time, if it's a money, if it's a other type of order type of data. If there is a reference lookup, I explain after, because you not only show with this solution, not only show the data as a subtable, subgrid, but you can show as a field. Okay, all automatically. I try to show you. Now is disabled, but this is disabled to add automatically. But when I enable the plug, the and the Power Automate to do it when it receives this information in the property table, it set this directly into the lookup that you have created. Other table is then property admissible value, is a table for understood if the value into Dataverse, into property table, is admissible or not. If you have a limit for you can't insert the number minus of 0, or if you want create a little option set type, if you want to insert a custom specific type of value, you set the rule here. Okay. On these, there is the order to table, property distribution, and entity reference lookup. This table is one, the entity technical name that you want to write your information, because now for this demo I created only a link for account, but you create a link on Dynamics properties with all entity in CRM. You can add more than one. You can add more than one Dyn properties table, or more than one reference on the Dynamics properties for custom table, for custom address. For an example, if I want to create a custom entity for to store the address in Dynamics in a custom mode, I can create an entity only Dynamics properties referenced, and the fields created for store to show the stored information. When I write my information into table, it see the with the label used before fiscal code. It the technical name, it find the property distribution on them, the reference lookup, and it write this information directly on in Dyn properties to show the element into new table that you have added. For this demo, I created only for account for timing, because I don't have time to create a big demo to show all system. To show better the contents of the custom table, there is the custom table, but we see in a better way next time. For start to create this type of data model, we have to create in a simple way an Azure database. We create an Azure database. When create an Azure database, for this demo, I created only development database, and it cost is very low. No? But you can scale up these for better performance when you work. The important note when you create the Azure SQL database is serverless, and you have to set hybrid security. You have not only at the Active Directory login, but you have SQL Server login. After create this database, you log to using SQL Server Management Studio to this database that you see before. And the first time create the table dynamics properties, and how try to explain the field that we use in dynamics properties. We have a field label that you show the information on the dynamics. The fiscal code you see is stored in a field label. The typology is in real is a ref typology, is an equidentifier. There is orders, an equidentifier to store the data in a virtual table when you create a relation for them. Read-only value is a value that you can use for your search for on all properties without have to search directly in the tipized fields. I created value money, value boolean, value string, value numeric, value datetime, value choice, and this value it store the real information that you write in the virtual table. If you write for a field type is money, it store the value in money. If you write a row the type, the topology is daytime, it write the value in daytime. It is created with this type of distribution to help you when you have to create some view, or you have to create some or you have to use in Dynamics for various changes, or in Power Automate to check various changes. You have the technical value. The technical value is the first element that you write in this table. When you write in this table, you write only the technical value. A trigger that distribute this information in the rest of the table. And but the others is not really important for them. After I create this table, and this is the SQL, the SQL part. We create we go to make Power Apps under Dataverse and create a new connection with SQL Server. When you create the new connection with SQL Server, it's better that you use the authentication type mixed and not Azure AD integrated. You insert your information in this SQL Server, this SQL Server connection, and go to Dataverse and create a new solution. I named this solution as Flex, and I add a virtual data provider Okay. When I created the environment, you have to add the virtual data provider solution from AppSource. If you not add these, you can't work with the virtual data provider. After the virtual data provider using a virtual data connector, and after them I create a new origin reference connection. This type connect, you create a connection and you create a name, and you have joined for the all elements to create a virtual entity in Dynamics CRM. After I go to the administration on the virtual entity origin, select virtual entity data connector, and add on them the flex connection, the connection that we created before. After we can find about a few minutes, 1 or 2 minutes, you create a new, you find in your default solution the new catalog for a flex connection, and create using the create app button on over that the new virtual entity, and you name, you create or refresh entity set to yes, you set the primary key and the primary field for the virtual entity. After that, you are able to see the data from Azure SQL into Dataverse, but and you have to create some relation to show this data under an entity. Is important. Now I created the orders tables for the custom the tables that you see before, and I'm sure that is enabled the track modification, because without track modification I can't show this information under Synapse data link. After that, I create some alt key in the Dataverse for use the alternate key with and not for create a strong consistency, you know, for the Dataverse. For an example, I create an alt key on account number because in my solution I have only one account number with this, only one account with this number. After, we have to create the relation. For create the relation, is important that you have to create on Azure SQL the reference fields as an identifier into your SQL database. If you not create the correct column name and the reference, when you trying to create a relation from account to Dyn's property, for an example, you can't save. You get an error because the external name is not matched with the field name, the column name into your database. For this demo, I create 3 relations, one for typology and one for the wait, I don't remember the name, the admissible value. Okay. After create this relation and we create this field and this, you have to add an clustered index on the table to speedest and the search of data when you show from Dynamics. If you know do this in 1 million of row, it crash because is too slow to show into Dataverse. If you create an clustered index with the reference table and the reference typology of the that you save in your are able to create a lot of tons of record. I check this this type with 400 million record of properties stored, and the Dataverse, and with the 10 millions of account, and the Dataverse is work correctly without any problem. After this part, after this part, this is the reference account. After this part, we have to join here. For complete the design, we have to get into Azure SQL, because we have to read the typology table and the others table to use view, to use stored procedures or others into Azure SQL. To do this, this is I create an Azure Synapse link, an Azure Synapse Analytics surface. Okay, in my Azure, and when I create this workspace, I set correctly the resource group, that the same resource group that are stored with Azure SQL. I created a workspace name. I create an account and file system name, and in the security part, I use both local and Azure Active Directory authentication, and I create the same login that I created for the database, LME admin, and the relative password. You can open the Azure SQL and Synapse workspace with the same login and the same password. Okay. After that, after created workspace is a lower cost, is not a high cost. After created, you have to check if on the storage account that created by Synapse, because the Polybase over storage account, you have to check that you have the correct role assignment, because if the role assignment is not correct, when you try to add the Synapse link to Dataverse, you receive an 403 error. After I allow Azure Services Resource and Synapse link for SQL Database Bypass Firewall rule into Synapse Workspace under Networking. Check opening Synapse Analytics if the main user that you use is an administrator, and if not, you have to create a role assignment. After that, you can go to make power apps to add Synapse to Dataverse. You click on Azure Synapse link, create a new link. When start the developer, you choose Azure Synapse Analytics Workspace. You choose the correct Azure licensing and resource group. The order is auto-filled. You go in the next step, and you have to choose the table. For this demo, I choose 4 tables into Dataverse: typology, property distribution, admissible value, and reference lookup, and the account table. At this you can for open the SQL access into Synapse, you have to create into Flex Dataverse over under shared access signature a new SAS connection string, a new SAS token. I created for 4 years because if you change each time, you have a problem with your solution, with our solution. And for see the data from Dataverse into SQL, into Azure SQL, you have to create a master key or encryption, and you have to create a scoped credential, an external. You can create an external data source as RDBMS. Is a serverless location into Synapse Dataverse. You have to add the database name you find in your Dataverse in your Synapse Synapse SQL link. And now you can create one and more external table. I create an external table with some of elements that on account, because all fields is not necessary. You have to set the schema name and the object name, and when you do this, you found the table under external table into space that we created before for DIME properties. You found the external data source created. After that, is important create a credential for shared access signature, the shared access signature that we created before. Because if you not create this credential, when you try to navigate the data from the Azure SQL, you receive an error as you cannot find credential. Cannot find credential on the account CSV, because there is not you haven't the credential to read the CSV into your storage account. When you create this credential into database, you are perfectly to read all data into your Azure SQL. For example, I created the account, I created the order configuration table, and now we can try to see into Azure. I little refresh because sometimes it changes the IP address and the element. Okay. Now, if you go in external tables and you want to see the data of account, you can go to account, you create a select, and it show the account. Or for typology, you can show the typology data. For this, I created all elements of table, and you show the data directly into Azure SQL database. Now we have all elements to create some tricks on the Azure SQL elements to add the information to virtual entity in a correct mode, in a valid mode, for store the element directly into the account that you want to store. If I want, for an example, I create two properties that now I show you the data, but I can show in Dataverse for fiscal code and birth date. Okay. Now, if I go Dataverse and go to search, advanced search. If you search online typology, you see two records that I created before. Customer birth date, daytime, customer fiscal code string. Okay. If I open, this is the data that I inserted. Sorry, but there is no. This is the data. No, the name, the entity reference lookup is a customer, and it have only the technical name is account. Okay, because if you can reference for other stable that I explained before. You found the label name, you found the property type that you can write a string, daytime, number, boolean, currency, or choice. Choice is an option. And the technical name that we have used before, fiscal code, when we inserted in the first time the data into table. You can create a new typo in each time without create or modify any part of solution for store a new data. For an example, I want to store customer. I want to store my telephone. Ok, anzi cellulare. Okay. As string, I set customer because I'm a customer. Create a label name cellular phone. The property type is a string, and the technical name is cell phone. When I save this information is stored in Dataverse, and reply this information Synapse reply into him, and you can see from the Azure SQL. If you there is a few minutes, about 1, 2, or 3 minutes for set this information to store this information into Synapse Data Link. We have to wait to show the changes. Because is not immediate. But the configuration type is not have a change in real time. You can change, wait your changes, and after you import the new properties into the system. Okay, there is the third record. Okay, and this cellular customer cellular string. Okay, now when we create this part of system, this is there is when you if you access if you log in to the directly into Azure Synapse using your admin, you see all external table that you stored into Synapse. The first 5 is the table that I choose. The order is the table that it creates every time. Global option set metadata, option set metadata, state metadata, status metadata, argument metadata. This table is you have to use to get the number of option set and check the label of option set, for example. That before you see that we are able to see this information directly into database and not only onto Synapse instance as external tables, and you see you have to create an authorization to see that data. For only the global option set metadata, there is an issue. The issue is that when you try to create the credential of them, you receive this error. The identifier start is too long. Maximum length is 128. Had the option set metadata is too long name, and it's impossible to see this table directly into Azure Dataverse. But this for our work is not a problem, because the only metadata that we want to understand is the metadata you see this option set here, that the string is a number, datetime is a number, no, or other. If you see the the SQL, you see then property type is not a string. To solve this problem, I rapidly create a table, a little table, for know the option set value and the option set string for using these type of naming into various trigger or various view. After solve this problem that I created the table and showed the information, I try to create my first view to see if the Azure are able to join the Azure table and Synapse table for create a report, for get this information for other system, for take this information for create a microservices system, for an example. That I create the various join for our table, and it create the select, and you can see the data that joined, and you are able to see the data created into external table, interjoined with the data of Dataverse. This is the only I used. After that, is important to create for better work, not work to insert all data into the Dyn property table, to create a little trigger. This little trigger, what to do? It information inserted the record and the configuration record for get the field type, and on the field type selected, you can set the value in a different mode into the table, in the Dyn properties table. You write in with this trigger, you are when you write on the technical value, and the all information are filled for configuration. If the option, the property, the type property table stored this type of fields is a string, it write the value string as the technical value string. Is if it's a choice equal. If it's a currency, it convert the technical value as money and store in value money. If it's at the time, it convert that what you see in read the only value, what you see in field label, and the stored datetime in with this type of conversion. For Boolean, it's stored in Boolean. For numeric, it's stored in numeric. With this trigger, you are able to insert in Dyn properties only three information: the field, the reference account, the reference typology, and the technical value. When this information is filled in in Dyn properties, it move this information or correct or convert this information in the other fields in the Dyn properties to have a full view of your property. An example that I explain to show into Dataverse, I can show a property using the account. If I see this property and open this property record, you see the field label, and you see the technical value, you see the value string, you see the ref account and the ref typology. If we insert another type of property, you see the other value field filled. Now, for better inserting into this type of fields, okay, you can create various Power Automate for the Dyn properties, for the typology, for create the auto name of the in this case, when you create a new typology, the field name is auto completed. After we see other on that for other tricks if we have a time. Now created in my ecosystem a new table named property loader. This table have only technical value, the account number, and the technical typology name. What I created on that? I created a trigger that we can see. This trigger select the inserted ID from the set the technical value from inserted, set the account name from inserted, set the type from inserted, and set the account ID and the typology ID with our condition from the account and Dynaconst typology. After that, it insert into directly these three value into Dyn properties, and after it delete the record from property loader because it's only for inserting. Now, if I can edit this, and I want to, for an example, to create a birth date on the account number 2, I create a date. I set account number 2. I set here date because birth date is the name of a technical typology stored in Dyn typology. In Dyn typology, when I commit, it creates this information directly into Dynamics property table. I hope that is not locked the management studio because I think it's changed my IP number and it stuck and this. Okay, I try to kill and reopen. Sorry. if task manager kill, I can show you. Okay, I reopen. I'm authenticating. Okay, I'm moving the screen. Okay, retry. Where is table? Property loader. Edit. So if you use SSIS or use Talent or use other ETL and write directly in property loader, you can add all information in your dynamics without consume any connection, any throttling for Dataverse, because you are inserting this information directly into your virtual entity and show this information into Dataverse. Technical value, I try 01 on number 2, and here okay, it do. If we go to Dynamics properties and try to see, we see the field label corrected with the datetime because it's a custom convert on them. The read-only value corrected with datetime. The technical value that we write as this, and value stored in datetime field. Okay. Now, if you go on our Dataverse account, refresh, you can see the birth date inserted. Before we created a new type for cellular, is a cell phone. We can use this cell phone for plus 93403253246 on the account 1. Okay, cell phone, and it write directly into CRM. You can see here, not John, but is Corrado, because the number account is 1. And you see the property cellular here. With this type of use of Synapse Data Link and Azure SQL as a virtual entity, now we are able to insert each data you want into your Dynamics without change the solution model and without consume throttling for inserted data directly into CRM, or with a high cost to use Synapse Analytics for joining table, or use logic apps instead of trigger. That this type of technology is a high cost when you use tons of and is inexpensive and is fast, and when is correctly configured is simple. I think I finished. I finished my time. I have another two tricks, because for customer you with the order table, with one of these table, with a plugin on one of these table, the table is property distribution. When you use property distribution with a custom plugin, I created automatically the lookup into the now into the account, into the this is the custom plugin. You can create automatically, taking the information from Dataverse. When you create property distribution, you can create a reference and a lookup for table with code. Is lookup directly into the forms, but the solution, the results is likely this. When you create a property distribution, it create the lookup, and it able to set this information in this lookup. To set this information in the lookup, we have to use. I used a Power Automate, but is for try to work. Is a complex, because you have to get the typology, you get the property type, you get the entity reference lookup. You have to create a switch if is a type of direct as a lookup, or if you write a fetch if is a grid, and you have to set the fields on the properties of a custom entity, on the custom field that you created, and you are able to set this information in automatic mode when you insert a new record into Dyn properties table. Is a little hard. I not have time to explain correctly this part, but if you write in the next week a few articles to explain this solution and the solution for automation of lookup type of property, and that's all.
Thank you so much, Corrado, for sharing your design pattern there. One of the common things you'll come across for many of the newbies here today is that when you're working with customizing Dataverse, you will start reusing certain design patterns for making your customizations based on the customer requirements, and often those will be reusable. And I think what you've done here kindly today, Corrado, is you've shared yours. So thank you so much for that.
Yeah,
excellent.
I can share I prefer to share the information when I created, when I finished to write all article on that, because it's hard session, is a very hard, is a very deep dive session, and is important to explain all part, because is real simple to stuck in some part if you not follow the correct guidelines to do this type of implementation.
Thank you once again, Corrado.
After in the next week, I started to create a LinkedIn articles, LinkedIn posts about on that, with the guideline to create this type of system.
Thank you so much, Corrado. Please feel free to share your contact details in the chat, but we look forward to that information very soon.
I can set my my LinkedIn URL.
Thank you once again. Excellent. So thank you, Corrado, for joining us all the way from Italy today. And we've gone over 7 minutes already. So without further ado,